All right, so I, I keep bragging about how I learned so much about the business end of football, and I refuse to have this negative passion for the Jets anymore, and it's only going to be about happiness when it comes. And in the meantime, I'm just going to be prepared for everything they do. And then a day like today comes, and I realize I can still get angry at the Jets, even though. Even though I sat here right on this very channel and told you that the Jets would do to get blown out again, or maybe do to win, I picked blowout. Even though I set this all up because, Darnold was going to get into a warmed-up car that Flacco got ready for him, and we'd find out what Darnold was made of. And even though I predicted that the Jets would lose, and I want them to lose, I'm still angry. I mean, this was terrible. Considering that for 4 weeks, not including the Kansas City game, for 4 weeks the Jets actually looked somewhat like an NFL team. They just looked like a bad one. They looked like an NFL team that just couldn't finish or, make the big play or whatever. Today they looked pretty much like they did earlier in the season, which is inept, not belonging in the NFL, not belonging on a field with a team that, listen, Miami's not a bad team. They're not a really good team. Jets shouldn't be looking like this against the Dolphins twice in one season. Come on. So I can only come up with one tiny excuse for Sam Darnold, and that's that Gase took the play calling back today. But I don't think that's really it. I think that just that Darnold is shot, whether he's shot on his own or the Jets shot him, killed him, I don't know. But this offense did not look anywhere near as fluid with Darnold as it has for a month with Joe Flacco. As I said in my my Darnold's make or break moment in my my video last night, Flacco took a couple of games to get his legs under him, and then had this offense humming pretty good, or at least humming for what the Jets are capable of with this sad sack freaking coach calling plays and relying on your 38-year-old guy for 155 goddamn touches in a game, which I'm going to get to that in a second. Flacco had the team humming as well as they could. They looked like an NFL team. They were out there making plays. They were in games. They were opening up the offense, and then Sam gets back there. They put up 3 points, and they just looked terrible. I'm going to start with some notes I made here. We're early in the game, and Gore's getting every play, and then it's 2nd and 15, and the Jets run. I wrote that down, and I wrote, come on. I don't remember the exact feeling or circumstances at the time, but it's 2nd and 15, and then you run. And then they shut me up on the next play because he hit Perriman for that long pass, about 29 yards, I think it was. But, I mean, this guy, for the whole first half, Frank Gore had 13 touches at the 2-minute warning. He ended up at the half with 16 touches, 13 carries, 3 receptions. The entire rest of the team combined had 7 catches or rushes. One other guy had a rush. So Frank Gore at the half, 37 years old, and the poor guy, I feel bad for him. He's gasping for air on every play, at the end of every play on the sidelines. They're relying on this guy to be the workhorse. I realize P. Ryan's hurt. I realize a lot of things. I'm not saying the Jets should have gone away from Frank Gore completely, or that they have other running backs they should be bringing along, but open up the offense. So does that make it that much more of an indictment on Gase's conservative, weak play calling, or are we really talking about this all being Darnold here? It just boggles my mind. So one of the things that came up on the broadcast today was Loggins has been calling the plays, but he's been sending them in through Gase. Gase has been relaying them to the team, which I've never coached football. I don't know why that makes sense, but okay. And then he took the play calls back today. So why not let Darnold get in there with his full complement of weapons and the exact same circumstances you gave Flacco so that you can evaluate them equally? I don't get it. I just don't get what goes on in the minds of the coaching staff of this football team. I don't get it. Adam Gase is a freaking idiot. We've gone through this 100 times, but his play calling once again was terrible just in general, but once again went into a shell the second something went wrong. Darnold threw that first interception, which was as bad as it gets. I mean, that was a bad interception. I'm going to get to that interception in a second, but then they immediately, on the next drive, they immediately go 3 short little passes behind the line of scrimmage. They're not even trying for forward progress at this point. He's just, I guess maybe he's trying to get Darnold's confidence back or get them back in a rhythm, but you got to open it up. You got to open it up. You can't just let the guy sit back there and throw 1-yard passes behind the line of scrimmage and then hope the Jets make a play. Don't show no ability to make these kind of plays where they make guys miss, wide receiver screens and dumps out into the flat for a running back. They don't work with the Jets. They don't have the blocking for it. They don't have the skill position players for it. So why would you call that? And then let's talk about Darnold's first interception a little bit. The second one was just as bad, but the first one just looked like he rolled out, and your first impression was he was in trouble. Okay, great. You roll out, throw the ball right to the guy. I mean, this is a terrible decision. Throw the freaking ball away or throw it deep, something. But he threw a 10, 15-yard pass, whatever it was, right into this guy's hands. The guy just waiting there like this, catches the ball. Then they showed the replay. And this is when I think the light bulb in my head went on, and the window shade went down on my belief in Sam Darnold. They showed the replay from behind Sam Darnold. And, he was in the pocket, and then he ran out of the pocket and threw the interception, right? But the pocket was not collapsed. I mean, it was starting to fall apart a little bit, but he had at least another second or two, a minimum, to stay in that pocket and look for an open receiver. Instead, he panicked, rolled out, and we know what happened. So the question then begs, is Darnold really that skittish? Or has he been taught to be that skittish because of poor offensive line play? And again, we're back to the same thing with Darnold on everything. Is it the Jets have done it to him, or is it just him? And at this point, it doesn't matter anymore. It does not matter anymore. He is not the guy. If you watch that game today and you still believe Sam Darnold is the guy, and you're still going to tell me about weapons, you're still going to tell me about the team around him, you're still going to tell me about this and that and the other thing, then you are clueless. You probably need therapy, and you are in denial, because Sam Darnold is not going to be the guy. So everything I've been saying for the past couple of weeks about rookie contracts and new coaches and franchise quarterbacks coming out, all of that is completely in play, and there's zero chance Sam Darnold's going to be back here this year. And Sam Darnold is now ruining his trade value, so the Jets are going to end up getting a conditional 7th-round pick for him at this rate. Now, I'm joking, maybe, but I think a 3rd-round pick is probably out the window at this point. And the reason for all of this, the reason I that window shade came down, and I no longer have any optimism for Sam Darnold after today. Now, if you're asking me if I have any optimism for his career, maybe. I don't know. But any optimism for Sam Darnold right now went out the window, because I said this in a video last night. Joe Flacco had this exact same team, this exact same offense, playing much better. Again, you can make a distinction between a good team and a bad team, and whether or not they are a winning team, but you can tell the difference in how the offense looked. It was much more fluid with Joe Flacco. The receivers actually got led so that they didn't have to stop and turn around for balls. He's not exactly the best decision maker in the world, but he made better decisions than Darnold. And Flacco hung in there in the pocket more. And I don't know how much of the offensive line play that is being that they were blaming for Sam's defense can be blamed on Sam and the fact that he leaves the pocket. There was that guy McConnor, whatever his name is, the kid who started for the 2nd time in his career today at right tackle, had a holding penalty on one of these plays, and the announcer said that I think it was Lofton said that when the quarterback breaks the pocket too early, it causes things like this to happen. And I could totally see that now. I could totally see that, maybe it's not the line completely. And nobody's saying they're a good line, but maybe it's not entirely the line's fault at this point when Darnold keeps running out of the pocket too early. It's almost like he expects that pocket to collapse, and he panics, runs out, and tries to make things happen. It's almost like he listens to me and other people say he's better on the run and he's not a pocket passer. And now he's like, all right, well, they're right. I'm going to try and make things happen on the run. Except now he's not making things happen on the run, unless, of course, you're rooting for the other team. Then he's a huge playmaker. So here's a couple other little things I came around with here. Right before the half, Jets drive all the way down the field. It's a pretty impressive drive. Of course, it stalls, and then you missed a chip shot field goal. I mean, how much more predictable can the Jets get? I mean, did anybody think they were going to make that field goal? It was a 29-yard field goal. These days, it's less than an extra point. It's enough, okay? I officially had enough about Sam Darnold, said all of that. Yep, said this too. Oh, the fourth down play. Oh my God, this is where I almost broke my remote. Now, if it had been a couple of years ago before I prided myself falsely, it turns out, because I'm so freaking angry, before I prided myself falsely on not allowing the negativity to make me angry anymore, I would have broke my remote. But thank God I'm slightly more mature now. But Jets get down 4th and 1 on the 10-yard line. At this time, they're losing 13-3, so they're still in the game. I would have been okay with the field goal, but I was happy to see them go for it. The hell with this freaking field goal stuff. Go for it. And I admit that a field goal might have been a good idea there. Get you to one score away. You're at least, you at least get some points on the board. And it's not like a 13-0 or a 20-0 where you get some points on the board just to have points. No, it gets you within one score. So I will not argue with you if you think the Jets should have kicked the field goal there. But they went for it, and I'm happy they did. Show some freaking balls. Problem is, my grandmother, who's dead, my dead grandmother, my cousin, who has never seen a football game before, 7 million Jet fans in the world, the Miami Dolphins, obviously, everybody knew he was going to run the ball up the middle, and everybody knew it was going to be Frank Gore. Aside from the fact that they've done it on every goddamn play that's fourth down. Have they just made a fourth down conversion this year? But every fourth down play, 4th and 1, it seems to me the Jets have had 2,700 4th and 1s this year, and they did the same thing on every play. Run the ball right up the middle and lose and get stopped. But the formation also. The formation, they had everybody bunched up on the line. The one guy they had outside ran a little bit into motion to make it look like he was going to block for everybody. So in that case, everybody knows the run is coming, and you're dead unless you play action. So God forbid you show a little bit of ingenuity and play action on that play. They would have had the proverbial nobody ever heard of you tight end that sits at the end of the bench standing in the end zone like this, waiting for the ball. Nope. They run the ball right up the middle. And obviously Miami was with my dead grandmother, my clueless cousin, and the 7 million other Jet fans because they stopped Gore for a 2-yard loss. So that was that was when like I was teetering on like laughing at the Jets and being a little angry. And that was when I was just like, okay, I have had enough. This is ridiculous. Gase, I cannot find the least bit of a reason to have any respect for Adam Gase at this point. He has no aggressiveness, no clue, no game awareness, no leadership ability, and he's just enough with Adam Gase. Let me see if there's anything in here. Oh, yeah, here's another thing. And now this ended up being wrong because because Darnold threw that second interception, but I think it still holds just for the what's the word I'm looking for here? Just for the lack of many times it happens. Well, I can't even think of the word here for the scarcity for if you will of how it happens. The Jets had gotten 2 turnovers from Miami, and Darnold had that piss poor interception the first time. So the Jets were winning the turnover battle, but were losing the game, and not really close. I mean, it wasn't even close. Miami was 1-24 heading into today's game when losing the turnover battle since 2017. So that's 25 times they have lost a turnover battle. Obviously, I can't have you answer me, but anyone care to guess when the other time was? The one time? You guessed it, earlier this year in the game the Jets lost. Jets won the turnover battle, Miami won the game. Jets inexplicably find themselves in situations like that. All the things coaches tell you have to do. Run the ball, play defense, win the turnover battle. The Jets do those things and then lose anyway. And, Darnold threw that second interception, so it kind of saved Miami. So officially on the score sheet, it will not show up as a game like that. But the fact that deep enough into the fourth quarter, the Jets were winning the turnover battle and losing 13-3 and being thoroughly dominated was enough of an indictment for me. There was something I wanted to talk about. Okay, so here, Gase, the conservative thing I talked about before, where after Darnold threw the first interception, he got conservative and threw those 3 crappy passes behind the line of scrimmage. I mean, not just 3 over the game, 3 in a row on the same drive. But here's the one where you just shake your head, right? The Jets get a big fumble recovery, right? In deep in Miami territory, 30-yard line, something like that, right? And the Jets, they have the momentum. They have a chance to do something now. And what do? They hand the ball right off to Gore, right up the middle. And it's not the end of the world, but it just speaks volumes. You're 0-10. You just got a huge play. Why not go for an aggressive play there? Even the end zone, go for the jugular. Show some goddamn balls. And they handed the ball to Frank Gore, and of course they ended up with nothing. I don't remember whether that was just the second. I don't think it was the second interception, but whatever. All right, final note. Just more on Gase and his complete lack of testones. Jets down 20-3, and there's less than 7 minutes left in the game, and they hand the ball off to Gore, right up the middle. All that urgency, you're down 3 scores with 7 minutes left in the game, and you're running the ball up the middle on first down. I don't get it. And then of course the next play was the second interception, so obviously it wasn't the other situation I just gave. So disgusting. I want the Jets to lose, and I am happy they lost because, the next 4 games, they're not winning. I mean, they got the Raiders next week. They're going to be pissed off after losing to Atlanta. Seattle, the Rams. I know the Rams look bad today. I don't even say it. Cleveland, and then they go to New England. I mean, the Jets pretty much have 0-16 locked up, which I'm glad. I'm happy about that. Don't get me wrong. But as I said in my previous video, I cannot sit there and root against the Jets, and obviously today angered me. Even though I technically want them to lose, I'm not rooting against them, so to speak. Today was just a disaster. But again, there's bright sides. On the bright side, 0-11, we now have no question, none whatsoever, about whether Donald's going to be the guy. So at this point, every fan is a Jet fan. Whether you're a real fan or a fake fan, you're all rooting for the Jets to get that #1 pick and get this turned around. There is no longer any reason to even contemplate whether Donald can be the guy here. He's just not. It's not going to be, and you'd be foolish to try and keep him after everything that's gone on. All right, I'm gonna end this here. I'm sure I'll be back during the week with something. So something will develop. And don't forget to check out the Fake Spike podcast I do with a buddy of mine. We'll be talking about this tonight as well. Episode should be posted late tonight. Okay, have a great night. Take care. Go Jets.